Hey everybody, long time no hear, huh? So I've been locked out of my account, but I have new videos up over on the other platforms. This one just went up last night, Immortality, Glowing Veins, and the Polio Outbreak. That one's over a 2-hour video by itself, but it's information that I plucked out of this full version video that I was making so that it wouldn't be 5 hours, so that I could, sort of break them up like I did the Trans Agenda, the Age of Deceit series, break it up into like a 2 hour and a, 3.5 hour or whatever. So this is sort of the first part of that one, and it's up now on it's up on Patreon, Rumble, and BitChute, and it'll be going up on the podcast, and I'll be streaming it on the midnight stream tonight. So that's available if you're interested. There are also a couple of other ones that I've uploaded on the alternative platforms that are not on YouTube. So it shall remain nameless, this last one. It's only 35 minutes long. I won't even bother to say the title here on this platform. And then the War Report, that was the last one that I did on YouTube. But this version on the other platforms has extra information in it, especially about that Russian dissident YouTuber that was poisoned and how that might tie into what is going on right now with all of us. Oddly enough, it was right after that video about Russ Dizdar that I got those strikes. I mean, it was immediately the same day. You can see here's my strikes. I have 3 strikes right now. One is medical misinformation, but these 2 are both community guidelines. So like it says right here, just one more will result in the permanent removal of this channel. So they already took down my backup channel permanently. So this is it. I hope you guys, if you like this sort of stuff, are interested in being a part of this community still, that you move over to the alternative platforms, because I'm hanging on by a thread. And certainly pray for me, so these strikes don't fall off until January 17th. That's why I just sort of, when they locked me out, I just sort of backed away from the internet stuff and started doing the manual labor part of this project that we're building with the Truth Museum, the gallery, the Mysteries of the Universe gallery. I just tied into that and I left this alone. So hopefully we can, make it till these start falling off again. But isn't this a quote coincidence that as soon as Russ Dizdar passed away suddenly and mysteriously, and that's what the video was about? I mean, his body wasn't even cold yet. And here, The Black Awakening, that's his book, The Black Awakening. That's what my series was based on. And they were already scrubbing the internet of his content. You guys know that's an old series. It's been up for years and years. So what are the odds? It's up for years without any problem, and then suddenly and mysteriously Russ Dizdar dies, and 2 days later, all of a sudden his content, on my channel anyway, gets flagged and removed at the same time that he got removed from the world. But anyway, enough of that. This late in the game, I guess there's really no reason for me to always update you. When I go MIA, you have to assume that it's because I got a strike. This is the way it goes every single time. And I don't even know why they keep my channel up, honestly. Must be some sort of a honeypot, but I don't know why they need that. They got Cerebro, where they can find, oh, look, there's a patriot over here. Oh, look, there's a Christian over there. They're like mapping our brain waves and stuff. So I don't know why my channel's even still up. I'm grateful for it. I hope God keeps it up. I hope he keeps it up for a long time so we can continue reaching people. I had another 1,400 new subscribers this past month. So we're reaching new people all the time. So I hope it stays up. But I mean, we know we're all on the red list as it is. And I just don't know why why it goes like this. They keep me like right on the edge, of 2 strikes at all times, so that I guess so they can generate that low frequency, fear or frustration or whatever. So anyway, that's the skinny. That's where I've been. So enough of that. Let's get to this new video. Let's get back to the new stuff. I'm back. Toward the end of that new video, it's all about this book by Suzanne Humphries, Dr. Suzanne Humphries, Dissolving Illusions. And she talks a lot in there about these poisoning and the symptoms of poisoning and how they mimic, what we're seeing in society today, and how history proves, with all the charts and graphs and videos she presents it all, how history proves that the same thing has happened before, back during the polio outbreak. the outbreak from the 1950s, where they really started institutionalizing the injection regimen that has gone on. Now our children are up to what, 70 injections or so by the time they're 18 years old. And now we're at the point where, well, you know what point we're at. But all of this ties into the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks, where doctors took her cells. You guys know they made a movie about it. Oprah was in it and all that. But this was all going on at the very same time. This was what, 1953, 1954, where she came in with this condition and these cells were multiplying. They were self-replicating so fast. And anyway, it's all in the new video. I can't really talk much about it on this platform, but her cell cultures have produced tons, literal tons of cells since the 1950s. That's how fast they replicate. And you know that we're seeing fast replicating. Anyway, I can't talk about it right here. It's all in the new video that is up on the other platforms. But this new series that we're going into with the avatars and the immortality, it has Fritz Springmeier clips and everything. Not in this video that's up right now, but the full version one, the second half of this that's coming out, uh, where they have a avatar project. It's actually called that. And I have the clips going back decades from these seminars with them calling it that. So all of this video that's up right now is sort of the introduction, the 2-hour first part introduction to this series that we're going into. Some fascinating stuff, especially in light of the immortal Hydra, right, that we've been talking about. That it's all linked together. It's all one big project. They have been implementing it for many decades, at least since the 1950s and probably before, in stages. So that's what we'll be talking about over the next couple of months, while we are launching our new project, which is so exciting for this next phase of the thing, to bring us out of their Internet of Things, out of their virtual reality and back here into reality with a brick and mortar location where we can meet, we can gather, we can distribute information, buy hard copies, books, DVDs, and we can mail them out from the location. And it has room for, we're going to put a shelter in on one side, and then we'll have the food distribution, clothing, the sort of Salvation Army, Goodwill type area that'll have the donations of furniture and clothing and all of that, which will be behind the bookstore. In fact, I'll show you. We went and looked at it and we've got the video of it. It's so perfect, you guys. It's exactly what I wanted. It's a dream come true. Okay, let me get my camera, get my phone and plug it in here and show you guys some pictures. Okay, so this is just the right side of the warehouse portion, which is great that it has this docking door, especially for getting furniture donations and stuff in and out, because you can't, it's so hard to get furniture in through these small doors. But actually, this whole portion isn't even something that we would probably use for the Goodwill Salvation Army part of the store behind the bookstore. This is additional. So this is probably where we would put the shelter with the cots and the bunks and the stuff for the relocation. And several of you have contacted me wanting to come to this area to volunteer to work at the facility and the outreach. And some of you have shared with me that you're in need of shelter already, that you're living out of your car and stuff. So we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to get this thing up and going. It's a big project, but luckily all this is already cleared out. The guy is storing, he has like a pontoon boat stored in here, but well, I'll show you the inside. Let's just keep going. So this is the one part. This is the part that's attached. This would be the bookstore here. There goes my son running across there. So this would be the part with the gallery. The Truth Museum would all be in here. And then this back section that's taller, this is the part of the warehouse. See how it's taller? This is the part be attached to the retail store that would be like the Goodwill type thing. Look, it used to be a gambling lounge, huh? We're claiming it for Jesus now. And you can see we have space to put our banners, because we're having to sacrifice our billboards, but this is huge space that we can still put up our billboards and it can be seen from the highway. And you can see there is additional space all on this side as well. It's just perfect, perfect to grow into, and for all of the food distribution and the community outreach. And I mean, it's especially if we're going to be mailing stuff, if we're going to be mailing out, and that's what I've done. Like I said, I've run the bookstore and the DVD store and all of that online for years, for what, 12, 13, 14 years. So to have all of this space to process all of that stuff and to be making, we're going to have not just a retail space, but a, small like factory almost in the back where we're producing all of these DVDs that we have to be burning copies, we have to be putting them in cases, we have to have shipping. Like here where I do it from home, I have 20 feet of just shipping tables and stuff with all of my boxes and my bubble mailers and everything. So there's plenty of space. Plus, right now, this side, we have an opportunity to buy this. We're well short on our funding right now, but this is something to think about. If I can get the financing and use the small amount of funding that has come in as like closing costs, that might be the way to go with this. And let me tell you why. One is because presently there's some really awesome guys leasing this side of the building over here, and they're paying and they're preppers and stuff. They could be a really great addition to our, our family at this location for many reasons. One, that they're paying like $800 a month for this space, and then $400 for these two storage spaces here each. So that right there would cover the mortgage payment if we just continued to lease to them and didn't even use this half of the building for now. We would essentially be getting the space for free as long as they, continued to stay on contract leasing their part. But also because we're non-compliant, and it's one thing to lease a space, and then when these mandates come down and they try to shut us down, we're going to stand. We're going to stand our ground. And when you're leasing from somebody, it's not just all on us to make that decision and to go into these legal battles. And I've been fighting these legal battles my whole life. I know I'll stand, and we always come out winning. But just like John MacArthur, even out in California, as liberal as they are, not only did they win after staying open and all the persecution they went through, but they were awarded millions of dollars in damages for being forced to close. So we're going to stand. But if we have a middleman, a landlord, the owner of the property, will he stand? Is he patriot enough to make the sacrifice if they come after him? And it's such an odd coincidence. I mean, there are no coincidences. I believe that this is a divine opportunity, that I was praying to God and talking to him about that I feared, will this guy, this landowner, will he be strong enough to stand with us? Will he be our enemy? Once he sees the information that we're putting in there, when I have an entire wall of DVD presentations from all of these doctors, all these frontline doctors, and all of these people who are considered, political dissidents now. Will he even come in and say, hey, what, I didn't know you were going to be peddling this sort of stuff out of here. I was praying to God, is there going to be a problem? I need to know. And the very next time I talked to the guy on the phone, he says, you know what? I'm just really tired of messing with this building. I travel a lot and everything. I would really like to sell it. So we have the opportunity to buy it. But like I said, we're well short on the funding to even do this. I've maxed out my credit cards at this point just to buy the inventory, which we already have. We have all of that. We're like ready to go. We need some racks. I'll show you the equipment in a minute. Let's look inside this. And I want to show you how perfect it is. It's like straight out of what I envisioned in my head. Even though it's been vacant for a couple of years, the guy who owns it, he has poker tournaments in it a couple of times a month or something. So there's poker tables and everything still around, but you can see how nice it is. And the building, we looked at another building, which was much cheaper the same day that we looked at this at 9 a.m. and we looked at this one at 10. And it was just so much work. And if we're hoping to have this thing up and running and launched by spring, I just don't know that we could do the work. I mean, we'll have to do whatever we can afford. But I mean, the roof was leaking. These were big repairs. I think in the long run that even though this one is more expensive, the fact that it's move-in ready is just going to be a blessing in a lot of ways. So the reason, look at this, the reason it's so nice is it was originally, before it was a gaming location, it was one of those home renovation stores there in the front. And so they had different cubicles set up, you know how they do. So they'd have one that was like a little kitchen set up so they could showcase their merchandise. So it's partitioned off just perfect for what we need, all of it, right down to the coffee bar and everything. I'll show you. So this is the little coffee bar area. And the fridge. The fridge alone is worth 5 grand. He said they can't get it out. They tried to take it out, but they would have to take this little bar area out. So even that goes with it. Okay, like I said, he's got poker tables and stuff set up in here, but you can see from the pictures I showed you in, what was it, the UFO video and the paradigm shift video, the pictures that I showed with the sort of drawings and mock-ups of what we wanted, there's plenty of room for our furniture area to make it seating, comfortable. And then in library style, look, they have these cubicles already set up, from the gaming machines and stuff. And we had discussed like an internet cafe almost to have at least one small section set up where people can sit down and view the material. There will be people who are interested in the information, but they won't be able to afford to buy it and take it home. So we need to have like a library. We can't do the checkout or the rentals or anything like a library because I've done that before in my multiple locations and it just doesn't work. People aren't, I hate to say it, but they're just not trustworthy. We'd be empty and out of business in 3 weeks. Literally, I've done that before with the loaners and the rentals and all of that, and people just don't bring them back. They don't care, and they never answer the phone, and it's done. So this is the better option, to do it like a library where they will have a station and they'll be welcome to sit down, because our goal, right, is to get the information into the hearts and the minds of people. It's not to make money. Nothing about this is to make money. I hope it self-sustains so that we can continue the outreach and continue to keep the doors open and not lose it. So I do hope it self-sustains, but I know for a fact, stocking inventory for this, I've gone title by title by title, and I've been very specific about the sections and the categories and the flow of the store and the way God wants it set up. And the one thing I found, is why I've maxed out my credit cards, is because the Christian stuff is, it's unattainable. It's not that people aren't interested, they can't afford it. I go to stock when I have layers. So I'll go to stock the stuff with the predictive programming concepts that we've talked about in every single video. So when I stock that, I can get the DVDs for like $4, $3, all over the internet, easy. But when it comes to stocking the Christian literature, every minister wants $25 for a DVD, $40 for a book, $25 for a book. So I know firsthand there's a lot of information that I would love to have here so that the public has access to it. Even if they just sit down on a comfortable sectional and sit down and read it for a couple of hours. Even if they can't afford to buy it, I just want to have it available. But some of it I'm just not going to be able to have available. I've reached out to the different ministers and stuff as well. Can we get a wholesale deal? Can we? And a lot of the, like the cryptid guys and stuff, yeah, they've given me great wholesale deals on their DVDs. But the Christians, like, I wanted to have a section on the Holy Spirit. So I went to the people who had DVDs on the Holy Spirit, and yeah, they want like $25 for one little DVD. So we're going to have to be mass producing our own DVDs. I'm going to have to be making my own shows, my own videos like I do about the Holy Spirit and stuff, so that we can give them away, or, be able to produce them for a couple of bucks. And the ones that I can, that I think are important enough information, I will stock a copy or two of. But the point is that these little cubicle locations where people can sit down, put their headsets on, and watch, a DVD. Here's a little bit of a close-up of those 4 stations that we'll have. The shelf is missing, but there's 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one. So those will be the the stations for the cubicles for the TVs. So the point is, yeah, it's like this place it's already set up for us. It's so easy. But anyway, the bathrooms are already set up, handicap accessible. That's so big, especially when we're going to be fighting to stay open anyway and prove ourselves essential. We're certainly not going to want to be fighting the city and the county and everything when people are nitpicking us, trying to find every single reason to shut us down. And I've dealt with that. I've been at the city council meetings and thrown the fuss and, had the write-ups in the paper, fought with the city manager. And I know it. I know that road well. So things like this are really important. The fact that the bathrooms are already up to code, everything's up to code, which, like I said, the place we looked at before, no, we'd have to do plumbing and wiring and roofing. And well, I wish I had the pictures of them. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's a different file. Here we go. This is a men's room. There's even a urinal, guys. So like I said, it's monumental. We'll have to do some painting and the shelving and, all of the normal stuff, moving the racks in, doing all of that type of work. But, aside from just basic touch up and painting and doing that, turning it into our space, I mean, we're so blessed. This is just amazing. So little work compared to the houses that I've lived in and I've flipped and the businesses that I've had to put all new plumbing. And even this house I'm living in right now, when I moved in, it was a shell. There were no sinks. There were no sinks in the bathroom. I had to put all of that in. And the building that we looked at right before this one, it had one little gas station bathroom like in the back. I mean, literally me and my son couldn't even hardly fit in it at the same time. And it was so dirty and gross that, I mean, it probably would have had to tear the toilet and the sink out and replace it. You've been in those old gas stations. It's like, oh, don't touch anything. Like that's the only bathroom they had. Certainly not handicap accessible. I actually really want to dedicate one of these walls, one of these areas when we do the decor to a benefactor wall to put everybody's name that donated to make this building, this place that people will be coming to make it possible. I want them to see that it's everyday people. This wasn't done with George Soros money or government grants or anything like that. This was done with everyday people, $5 at a time, $1,000 at a time, regular people who made the sacrifice to to build this thing. So I don't know exactly where or if I want to do it as a border. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm going to do it though. I'm a little worried because for the first 15 years of this ministry, even on YouTube, I never took donations. I didn't take a penny from anybody, not one penny in all those decades and all that time. It wasn't until they started censoring us and they cut off our income and demonetized us and stuff that I said, you know what, if we're going to continue with this, then maybe someone would want to help. And I was shocked. I was actually shocked that so many people, now we're up to what, 300 patrons that wanted to continue and saw the value in what we were doing. So the problem is I'm a little scared. I don't want to leave anybody out because I'm not, Zuckerberg or some data miner that I keep everybody's information. In the beginning, I would try to, in the videos, put a list of the people that contributed that month, but a lot of people wanted to be anonymous. They didn't want anybody to know and stuff. So I just don't keep records. But I can go back like on my PayPal and do a history thing and pull up the names. It'll take some time, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. And I hope I don't leave anybody out. I'm really worried. I don't want to leave anybody out. But like I said, I don't keep records on this stuff. And it's been, what, 3 years now that I've accepted donations. So it's going to be a task. But I want to do it. I want to do a benefactor wall with all the names of all the people who made this possible on there. I think it'll be really cool and even inspirational to other people who come in to let them know that, yeah, you can. Regular people can do this. You don't need government funding. You don't need all that stuff. All we need is each other. So this goes out a door, out the back of the retail space. And then that's the big warehouse space, which will be, our meeting place. I hope to host events, big events. He talked about hosting weddings and stuff back in that space. But, we would be hosting other types of get-togethers for rallies and for demonstrations or for like Owen Benjamin. Love him or hate him, I don't want to talk about it right now, but he's always saying if you have a location, since he's banned from everywhere now, they can't get venues, but he can draw in a big crowd. And he said, if you have a location, I will come and we can set up an event. So there are lots of people like that and lots of other YouTubers that I would like to get together and do some events together. Unity, that's what we are. It does, at this point it doesn't matter. They're injecting our children. It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, all of this other petty denominational stuff, it does not matter. It's time to come together. It's humanity against the enemy, against this new world order. That's where we're at. It's humans against demons, the children of God against the serpent seed. That is where we are at. So all this other stuff has to fall to the side. We have to work together, because as this thing unfolds and there's more and more pressure, more breakdown in the supply lines, more economic collapse, more death, despair, who knows what they're going to release on us this winter. As this thing unfolds, people can't afford to put gas in their car. They have to pull their children out of school because just having, them in school is considered consent for them to be injected against their parents' wishes. People are going to be, their head's going to be spinning. We know what's coming. We're preparing, but their head's going to be spinning. They're going to be looking for answers and they're going to be looking for help, and we need to be ready. This is the main central one that's right behind the retail space. You walk through the doorway and then it opens up into this in the back. But all of the spaces to the right and to the left, that entire row of these, they all look pretty much like this. Nice and clean, cleaned out, in good shape, solid. This even has heating in it. So, easily can be dolled up for what we need. Now, I mean, I get it. It's a pole barn. There's the heater up there and it works. That's fantastic. But, it ain't Macy's. It's a pole barn, but it's a nice one. And it's just perfect for what we want. And he said he's not hauling any of this furniture and stuff out. It's all going with it. He said he doesn't need it. He's old now and he just doesn't want to mess with it anymore. And you can see this big garage door and then the other regular door right here that leads into the next section over there, which is probably where we would put the shelter and the food distribution. And then this part would be, the Salvation Army styled, Goodwill styled addition to the bookstore and the library and all of that. I did decide to let the billboard go this month. So the contract ended in October. So I didn't renew. They've called me. I'm just holding off. If you look, let me see if I can get over here. If you look, that's $985 a month. So that's almost $1,000 that we were spending on the billboard. And I just think we need to reallocate that money into this project. This project right now is the priority. We are in phase 2, and it's beyond just making these videos and lifting up the name of Jesus. It's time for us to be the hands and feet of Jesus. It's time for us to get out there in person. And to do that, we have to step out of virtual reality and also have a presence in real reality. So I think to be safe, that we make our building payments and can move forward with this bigger project, that we need to have this extra $1,000 freed up. And I know I've had a lot of people, several of you have been very generous, and I really appreciate it, because these are really hard times right now. And I know we all work hard for our money, and it's really balanced out, because at the same time that I've had this handful of people who have been very generous, I have also lost many, many, many donations. People have Patreon. Many people have deleted. People have contacted me even asking for refunds of their donations, which I've had to do. Several people have, cut theirs down in half or a third or whatever. So we've lost a lot of support these last 2 months while we're trying to build this project. And, that's just the way it is with the inflation and gas prices and people losing their jobs, especially in our community. It is our community. It's people like us who will stand up and resist. And so, we're the ones who will lose our jobs and have to make these sacrifices. So I'm not, begrudging anybody, and I don't want anybody who can't afford it to contribute to this project. I want to, God has, you know who you are. If you're out there and you can afford it and you see what's happening here and what we're doing, and God is telling you, then yeah, absolutely. But just to be safe, I made an executive decision and I did not renew this billboard in November. So that will free up, another $985 so that we can safely move forward with this project. And I will be so glad when we actually sign on this building. And then at least we could get a key to the place so I could start moving some of this inventory out of my basement because I'm moving forward with the project. I know God's going to do this. So I have been stocking all of the inventory. You can see this is all down in the corner of my basement here. And this isn't the half of it or a third of it or a quarter of it. So we're well on the way. All we need is the racks and the space pretty much. And here's a ton more that I have stored out in my garage. You can see a lot of it's not even opened yet. And this is a lot of hard work. I mean, I ordered specifically title by title, author by author, the information that I want to present at this location. So all of this had to be hand-picked. You couldn't just go get a truckload of something. I had to do all of the ordering for all of this. Then we have to sit out in the garage with a box cutter and open all this stuff, just one package after another. Deb came and helped, and yeah, just sitting hours just opening package after package after package. And so this is where the resources have been going. I'm not just sitting around going, "Oh yeah, let's do this," and then I'm just out buying beer with your money or something. Like I'm working my ass off. If I'm not on here making videos, I'm still working. If I'm sick, I'm still working. If I'm getting strikes on my YouTube channel, I'm still working. And this is what we've been doing. And here are the 4 TVs that I got for those 4 little cubicle spaces. Now with the Black Friday deals going on, I had to get them while they were cheap. So I had to use my credit card, even though we don't have the funds in the account to do it. So it was worth it though, because all in all, it was almost half price of what I would have had to pay. And the way the supply chain is going with everything running short, I figured we better get them while we can, because after Christmas, we may not be able to find, especially not cheap. With the price gouging, we may have to pay 4 times as much to do this. So I went ahead and put them on my credit card. And then this is some of the other equipment we have for the assembly line for the printers. Now this printer here, it prints on the disc. When you get like the professional DVDs or people who do it for a living, burning the DVDs, and on the disc itself, it'll have the title and all of that and a picture, a graphic on it. That's what this printer here does. And these are all the printable discs. And then I have boxes and boxes, cases of the DVD cases and stuff so that we can produce all of the copies of these YouTube videos and the documentaries that we've done and all of the banned presentations from all of these doctors since this whole thing, kicked off. Because people in my community, they don't have any idea. They've never seen these doctors. They don't know who Dr. Cahill is. They don't know any of these people at all. They've been completely scrubbed from the internet and on on Facebook and places where they are in those echo chambers. These doctors, they're not allowed. They haven't heard any of this. So we're going to have to, for everybody that is not copyrighted and they've allowed us. I mean, even Alex Jones at this point has said, copy it, you guys, copy it and distribute it. I don't, mirror it, copy it, cut it up, chop it up, use it, get it out there. So I've been careful to make sure that I have written or verbal consent on all of these, and we're just going to have our little factory back there, and we're going to get this stuff out. We're going to get it out to the masses, even if they shut down the internet, even if there are riots and civil unrest and all of that, and they shut the internet down. We're still going to be getting this information out. If we got to stand on the streets and hand it to people. This back here is the machine that makes the 5 copies at a time once we have the master. And thank you to everybody. I had 5 people offer to help burning these masters of these things from my MP4 files. And if you haven't heard from me yet, I thank you, but presently we're okay. There's one gentleman who stepped up who saw it on D Live, and he's been making DVDs for 25 years. He has all the equipment. He's been so generous to help us with this. And so I'm in the process of putting all these MP4 files. I was gonna do it on thumb drives, but there's so many that I ordered a detachable hard drives, like 50 bucks, you know. So I'm gonna put all those on there, and then he's gonna make the masters and then send them back to us. And then we'll have, here we got the duplicator, here we have the thing that will print. This is for printing the cover art. This is for printing on the discs themselves. This is our sort of Underground Railroad map. I'm not going to talk publicly in detail about what this is, but these are other Christians, other locations, you know, just like the Underground Railroad, when people had to get out of one area to another area. You know, we're going to have Christians trying to get out of one area to another area, and we need to know where our allies are and where these locations are that are basically based on my conversations with God and the vision stuff I've had, that are going to be areas that are going to be hard to cover, areas that are going to be no-go zones, things like that. So, you know, this will be something that we'll talk about privately, but not here. And we are just one of those safe areas. You know, it's not just the building, this location that we've chosen, it's rural. And the government there, because it's so tiny, there's only like 1,000 people in the town. So, but it's right off of the main one way, the main highway that leads to the interstate. So it's easily accessible, but it's not like in the city. So I don't think that we will face much trouble with the city governments and the county governments and stuff. Uh, the people out here in the rural areas, like, we get it. We're together. We work together as a community. So you know, this is a good location. It's a refugee area, not just, you know, one building. It's going to be a safe zone. I guarantee it. God wouldn't have put me here and asked me to do all this if it wasn't. Okay, so here's some more. This is another corner of my basement. I'll be so glad when we can actually afford to sign on the building so I can get some, I mean, my every corner of my entire house, garage, basement is shoved full of this entire project's inventory. So, but once we open it, you saw the boxes stacked up, just sort of like chaos. Then we have to go through and sort it all into categories. So then it all has to be sorted into categories, and the old tags have to be taken off, and it has to be processed. And then eventually we're going to have to go back through, and we're going to have to price everything and do, you know, do all of that. But it's a process, and we've been working our butts off. So thank you for everyone who has contributed, because we can't do any of this without you. But I want you to know that we're faithful on this end, and we're getting it done. We're getting it done. And we're getting really close now. Really, if we get this location, then spring, it'll be this spring. I mean, this is just some minor painting and shelving and moving the racks in, and then transferring all this inventory that I have here. Hopefully all winter, I'll spend all winter sorting it all, pricing it all, boxing it by categories, so we can just literally load it in the truck and carry it up there and get it out on the shelves. So, you know, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm excited to meet so many of you. And like I said, I will put up all the information, and I will contact as many people as I can. If you've been waiting on cards, I know I got all the Bibles out. Everyone who contacted me for a free Bible or whatever, I answer those first. And then I do the cards, and then I try to answer people who just want to talk to me. So if you are requesting cards, sorry, I've been a little bit behind on that with my illness and then all this other stuff going on. Been so busy, but they will go out in the mail this week. And if you need cards or you need a free Bible from us, try to put that in your subject line when you email me, because I literally have 20,000 emails right now in my inbox. And if you don't put it in the subject line when I prioritize, you know, it could be 30 days or more before I even see it. I just, you know, I'm just one person. I don't have a team. I don't have anybody. I mean, Deb and Rob have helped me a little bit, but pretty much it's just me. Like, this is just me. I'm one person. And that's another great thing about having this location, is for those of you who want to come and be a part of this, like, that would be great. That would be fantastic. We could do so much more and reach so many more souls if I just had more time, more arms, more legs, more people. we can do more if we work together. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here. So I hope you guys are excited about it as I am. And like I said, we're still well short of the goal, the $35,000 goal. And actually, that's bare bones. Anybody who knows this size of a project, that is bare bones. So if there's anybody out there who God is blessed with resources, financial resources, we can handle this stuff and the manual labor side and all of that, but we really need the financial resources. So if that's you and God's been bugging you, please step forward and join forces with us. It's time to stand up and assume our place in the body of Christ. This is it. So over there at our GoFundMe page, the Revolution for Christ, you can donate there. But there are other ways. PayPal, all of it's down in the description box. The PayPal, the Patreon supporters, that type of thing. There's lots of ways that you can contribute to this. You can mail. I've had that post office box for like 2 years and I hardly ever get anything. I get maybe 2 or 3 envelopes a month, or a package once in a while. And I so appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys. But this past month, for whatever reason, or 2 months since we started this project, I've got like 10 or 15 letters and checks in the mail. So thank you guys so much. But anyway, so yeah, if you don't want to use the online stuff, or if you've been kicked off PayPal, like a lot of people already, you can just send a check through the mail. We can really use it. But if not, I'm going to do this anyway. I don't want to put any of you guys out. I'm honored to be a part of this. I'm excited. If I got to sell my car, I'll sell my car. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to do it. And I hope some of you will stand up and take part in this because it's going to be glorious. And anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I love you guys. God bless you and your families. Stay safe. Oh yeah, the new videos. There's new videos up. They won't be going up here on this platform. We got to play it safe at least until mid-January or so when these strikes fall off. But in between doing all this other stuff, I'll be posting on these other platforms. I'll let you know here on YouTube as long as they allow me to stay here. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.